boys and girls, and welcome back to the Lesson Plan Lab channel. In today's video, we will be reading the story titled The Ranger and I. This story was written by Marva Hylton-Dennis. Let's go! School days were the very best. Every day after school, we played on the road. We loved the mango season. We would pick mangoes as we walked home. Ripe, green, and half-ripe mangoes spread out under the trees. When there was none on the sidewalk, I climbed over the wall. I could climb very well. Sometimes we sat by the roadside and ate the mangoes we found under the mango trees. It was always fun after school, the best part of school days. Not even lunchtime was more exciting. As soon as the bell rang after school, we all dashed out the door. We were like mad ants out in the schoolyard. I bet you can't beat me to the gate, Tony. Al would dare me. We would run off, leaving a cloud of dust behind us. The watchman at the school gate gave up trying to keep order. We could hear him muttering to himself from time to time. His only weapon, after all the years of working at the school, was to roll his eyes, hiss his teeth, and lock the gate after we left. Poor Mr. Wilson. Some days I felt sorry for him. My brother Al and my two sisters, Sam and Dolly, and I met at the school gate every evening as usual. 3 other children who lived in our community walked home with us too. It was even more fun once we went outside the schoolyard. We stopped from time to time to play marble games, hopscotch, tag, and jump rope. We sometimes played tricks on Creamy and Benny, the snow cone man. The mango farm was one of our favorite places. The girls loved to throw the rotten mangoes they picked up off the ground at the boys, especially those who were younger than they were. Sam and Dolly thought this was great fun. That evening was no different. We stopped at the mango farm as usual. Al, hold your hands together like this, I said, putting both hands together, locking my fingers to show Al how to make a step for me to scale the wall. Sam and Dolly watched. Okay, replied Al as he laced his fingers together. Stoop down, and when I count to 3, lift me up. I put my left foot into Al's hand. 1, 2, 3, lift. With that, I disappeared over the brick wall to the other side. A minute later, mangoes came raining over the wall, one hitting Al on the head. Tell me when you're ready, Al shouted as I threw more mangoes over the wall. Suddenly, I could hear dogs barking in the distance. I'm ready! I'm ready! Hurry up! Hurry, man! I yelled from the other side. Al took a length of rope from his school bag and tossed one end over to me. I came over the wall so fast, I was gasping for breath. The dogs stopped barking. What took you so long, man? I asked. So long? Next time I'll leave you over there so the dogs can eat you for dinner. We all laughed as we scooped up about 2 dozen mangoes and were on our way. We could always get sugarcane. The sugar estate stretched along the other side of the road. As we walked home in the hot sun, we refreshed ourselves with the juice from the sugarcane we broke from the cane field. Everybody loved Willie, the watchman at the sugar estate. He was no problem, especially when he was asleep. We could eat the entire cane field and he wouldn't know. Only an earthquake could wake him up. Our only problem was the rangers. We were always on the lookout for the rangers. They were always trying to stop us from breaking the canes. As long as they were not in sight, we could help ourselves to the canes. It was fun running through the cane fields. That evening, we did not make it further than the big guango tree on the sugar estate. We had eaten a lot of mangoes and then stopped at the sugar estate to eat some cane before we went home. We were so stuffed from the mangoes and cane juice that we stretched out on the grass under the tree. The breeze felt good. We lay there using our loaded backpacks as pillows. We could hardly get up to walk home. Suddenly, the silence was broken. Run! Run! Ranger! Run! Jeep! Run! It was Dolly. I looked around but didn't see her. The other children were scrambling to get their knapsacks. Where is Dolly? I asked Al in a panic. I don't know. We were sleeping, he replied. Run! Ranger! Run! I heard Dolly shout again. I jumped up, trying to figure out where Dolly was. I ran to the road that the tractors drove on. Dolly was standing by the side of the road. A jeep stopped beside her and the ranger got out. You, come with me, a voice shouted behind me. I froze. A ranger was behind me. My feet could not move. Come with me, the ranger shouted again. Without thinking, I started walking towards the jeep. I looked around. I did not see Sam and the others. Dolly was still standing by the side of the road. The jeep and the other ranger were still there. From the distance, I heard a desperate voice. Don't go in the jeep! Run! Run! Without any hesitation, my feet got into action. I took off in the opposite direction from Dolly, my feet going as fast as they could. As I ran, I heard the engine of a jeep behind me. I ran, screaming at the top of my voice so Sam and the others could hear me and run. I took a quick look behind me. To my amazement, Sam and the others had appeared and were running like a pack of mad dogs behind the jeep that was following me. Dolly, I thought as I ran, we can't leave her. I stopped suddenly. What are you doing? A voice in my head asked. Are you crazy? Are you losing your mind? I was scared for my life, but we couldn't leave Dolly behind. I was out of breath. I flopped to the ground in fear. The jeep caught up with me and stopped. Sam and the others ran past the jeep to where I was on the ground. My heart was pounding. I thought I was going to die. The ranger came out of the jeep and stood over us. The other jeep pulled up. The second ranger walked behind us, holding Dolly by the hand. He let her go and she ran to us. What are you going to do to us? I asked, even though I was nervous. The rangers looked at each other, then one of them suddenly roared, Go home and stop stealing the canes. We were in shock. Was that it? My heart was still in my mouth. I watched in disbelief as the rangers got back into the jeeps and drove off. Dolly and the others dropped to the ground beside me. As we all tried to catch our breaths, from all the running. Dali looked the worst. She was shaking like a leaf. After a while, some of the kids went back to get their knapsacks from where they had dropped them in the mad rush to get away. It was a horrible experience. We continued the rest of the way home in silence. Shocked, no one said a word. I had lost my appetite for mangoes and sugar cane, even though my knapsack was loaded with them. We split up and went our separate ways to our homes. When Sam, Dali, Al, and I were alone, we talked about the incident. Dali still looked upset and confused. I nearly fainted when the ranger held on to me, she said. Why didn't you run? I asked her. I tried to, but I was so frightened. I couldn't move, she replied. Sam, why didn't you and the others run? You had the chance. We couldn't leave you and Dali. We are a team, she said. We turned the corner to our house. My heart skipped a beat. A jeep was parked at the gate. And that's the end of the story. Now, before we go, I have some questions that I would love for you to answer in the comment section below. Number 1 says, what are the names of 3 characters in the story? Go ahead and type those 3 names in the chat below. Number 2, what word would you use to describe the main character in the story? Number 3, what time of day did the story take place? Number 4, who is a ranger? Number 5, what word would you use to describe the ranger? Number 6, what is meant by the phrase, my feet got into action? Number 7, whose vehicle do you think was parked at the writer's home? And the final question, do you think the writer will steal Cain again? Why or why not? Now go ahead and type your answers in the comment section below. And that's the end of our story for today. Until next time, goodbye!